let's just say spoiler alert. we're gonna talk very detailed about the movie. I think that's the only way to do it.
My first thought was the movie and disclosure is more about us, the truth about our being.
So what you saw it before me by like a day, and you said one thing to me after you saw it, and of course I didn't really know what it meant. And then after I saw it, I repeated that one thing back to you, just so you knew that I knew. What was that one thing, Stuart?
The following program is presented for general information, education and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to be advice of any kind. The content, views, thoughts and opinions expressed in this program are those of the individuals involved. The use of information on this program is at the user's own discretion.
Stuart, what's going on today?
Mike, I feel like we've had some sort of enlargement occur. I appear to be bigger on the screen, and so do you.
Yeah, we're oh man, yeah, we're a little bit bigger for the visual folks. I thought we were a little bit too small there, so made us a little bit bigger. I think let's see how it works. I think there's already 2 conversations out there that have been done before this, so the visual folks might get confused for a couple weeks, but that's okay. You'll figure it out.
We're back bigger and better than ever.
Exactly. So you've had a busy week. You've had it, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had a few gigs on and study as usual and work. But one thing I did get to fit in this weekend was going and seeing Steven Spielberg's new movie, Disclosure Day.
Awesome. I'm glad that you were able to squeeze that in because I know that you had a lot going on. I also saw it last night, as it were. So we've got to talk about it, right? I mean, this is probably the only movie ever that we're required to talk about, Stuart. As a Universal Disclosure podcast, we must comment about Disclosure Day by Steven Spielberg. So
okay, but it's not a movie review. We're not movie critics here.
Exactly, yeah. So I also want to say to everyone out there, especially the regular participants, we're going to do our very best to be general so that we don't mess it up if you haven't seen it yet, because it's still pretty new. But we also want to talk about, like, the various themes behind it and such, and how it all relates to, like, the reality aspect of it, perhaps. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to accomplish this, Stuart, so we're going to say right now we're going to be general, but if we do blow that out of the water, I'm going to say this, and then we can always snip it out. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie and are planning on seeing the movie, come back to this conversation after you have seen the movie. So then, and if that's not the case, let's snip that out, right?
Smart, because I was going to ask you about that final word that's spoken in the movie too. So I can get into some specifics now. I like this.
Okay, yeah. So, let's just say spoiler alert. We're gonna talk very detailed about the movie. I think that's the only way to do it. So what we'll do is we'll wait a couple days to put this out, but it'll still be about a week or so after the movie originally came out. And so if you have not seen the movie yet, Disclosure Day, and you are planning to see it, please come back to us at this particular conversation after you've seen it. We don't want to ruin it for you. This is your final spoiler alert warning.
Okay, I like that, Mike. Now we can get into more detail about what's revealed in the movie. Very good.
Exactly, yeah. And also, please like and subscribe and share and comment and all that good stuff. I usually don't really say that until the end, and I usually forget to say it completely. So let's see what happens. Maybe we need to remind everybody out there to do that sort of thing. Anyway, Stuart, what'd you think? I'll let you go first. Overall, Disclosure Day, what's your thoughts?
Okay, I'm still integrating the information. My first thought was the movie and disclosure is more about us, the truth about our being. I could also tell that Spielberg is quite well versed in this whole paradigm. Of course he is, with all the movies he's been making in this genre. And there was some chase scenes, guns and everything like American movies are prone to have, which is fine. I found it entertaining overall. Yeah, I've got a few different thoughts on it, but please go next, Mike, and I'll add some more.
Okay, so I've got a little bit of list of pros here with only one con, and what you just said right now is the only con that I have. I've got a lot of good things to say, so hold on for that. But yeah, there was a couple times that it was a little too quote unquote Hollywood for me by having scenes that are just never ever going to happen in reality. Like the. I'm open to stuff that could happen or is, like documentaries or movies that are based on truth or real, like if it's possible. But when something is just like the train scene, for example, that one, I was just like, come on, man. You're just like, this doesn't need to be here. Okay. You don't need to make the phenomenon. But anyway, that's all. That was my only gripe. Other than that, I got a lot of good things to say.
All right, let's hear it, Mike.
So I mean, we're not really trying to do a review of it, as it were, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think partially, like going into this topic, like we have, I have a different worldview. I have a different, like some stuff that I may have liked many years ago. I just like what I just talked about. That just anyway. Here's some good stuff. It furthers the realization of the surveillance state that we actually 100% live in.
Okay, this is good. Okay, if you break it down to these topics, we can do this.
Yeah.
So the surveillance state. Now, I found it interesting. I'm going to talk about specifics of the movie. Final spoiler alert. When these so-called FBI agents turn up, the main character realizes that they're not FBI, they're posing as FBI. So what they are actually is a military-industrial complex. And I'm liking that level of the situation is being revealed in this movie. So that's something I really liked.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree with that. And what was being depicted there, it's not too far off base from what sometimes happens with experiencers, in that they have these abilities sort of opened up to them that they didn't have previously to their experience. Now we do have to give Hollywood, as it were, and Steven Spielberg his creative license and telling stories. So it is what it is. But I think that the root of what they were depicting there, that's not too far off base from reality. Actually, there are people who. I personally know people who, as freaky as this is going to sound, can kind of probably read your mind, but they don't make on like they do because they don't want to freak you out.
I believe that now, Mike, because of the telepathy tapes, which I've mentioned a couple of times on this show. They discuss those kind of abilities. And another big takeaway for me is that disclosure has already happened with the masters, people like Jesus and Buddha. Because what disclosure is telling us and reminding us who we really are and the abilities that we have. So that was a beautiful level to the movie for me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, I'm going to cite a little thing where it's sort of right near where the, I guess, what do you call that thing? The climax of it is as one of the people came out and one of the main characters was like, no, I don't want to be anyone's religion. And I felt that was an appropriate thing to say because there are people who do, I think already, sort of think it's the aliens, if you will, as a religious thing. And as you pointed out, right from one of our main first episodes, religion is someone else's journey.
Yeah, that's the way I feel it. Religion is someone else's journey that you're emulating, and spirituality is your own personal journey, which is very powerful. Now, just on this topic, Mike, I liked and I felt that the nun in the abbey or wherever that was had some awareness. It felt like that, didn't it? Like she maybe even an experiencer.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to ask you that specifically. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm not really a Bible reader, as it were. So at one point, there was one of the characters asking another character, about the idea of, did God create the aliens? And the nun that you're talking about in the movie, the character said, humanity was God's supreme being on Earth. She added in on Earth as though. I mean, it was a big, important thing. But is that real? Like, in the scripture that was quoted, is that actually what it says?
Okay, I would need to go back and check that and check the Greek or whatever language that came from, because that would be Old Testament, of course.
Okay.
Very interesting. I mean, it's probably correct, but something I'd need to check. And it's a very interesting and pertinent point as it relates to people's anxieties about whether we're top of the food chain, forgive me for using that phrase,
Yeah, yeah.
or not.
But it's okay. So it's a perfect example of how literally one word can change an entire paragraph, an entire meaning of something. Where God's I'm using the wrong words right now.
No, I
we're,
get you.
we're God's alphas, right? But until you throw in on Earth, then suddenly, woo! It's a much bigger statement than it was before.
Well,
Yeah,
another interesting thing there is like we're ultimately all one anyway. So I think, well, I personally feel that this anxiety about whether we're top of the heap or not, a number one, is an ego issue.
yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, ego issues are everywhere, but they're, in my perspective, more prominent in ufology than maybe anywhere else. But
Already.
probably not, though. I mean, you look at politicians. Most of them are egoic.
Oh, yeah, there's a
Okay.
few egoic ones.
Yeah, only a few. Oh man. But anyway, one of the things the for me personally, I got not personally, but for me as part of, I really had to distance myself from when I first left the movie theater. I had no thoughts at all. I just walk back to my car. That's pretty unusual for me to not have any thoughts, because usually there's multiple layers of thoughts going on, right? And I was just stewing in it. On the way home, I was just thinking, like, what do I think about this? What did I just see? And it made me ponder, but almost in a very neutral way. I didn't know what to think about it, but one of the things I noticed is that the word experiencer now is going to be forever stamped into the pop culture zeitgeist, and I think in a positive way. So I'm very happy to have seen that. Does that make sense?
It does, because one of the words that people use is abductee, which of course has negative connotations, and it needs to be more neutral, as you said, which is very interesting that you came away from the movie with that neutrality. Now, that's why at the start of this discussion, when you asked me how do you feel about it, I said I'm still integrating the information, because that's how it felt to me too.
Interesting. Now, before I say what I want to say, to go out with the experiencer thing, there was multiple times in the movie where they said, like, is he an experiencer? Is she an experiencer? That's why you can't dive on them. And for me, that was just like, wow, you just took that to a whole new level in terms of the way the world is going to perceive the experiencers. You see now?
Yes, and that involves some ancient tech that was being used, or ET tech, ancient civilization tech, whatever way you want to look at that. Ah, wow. Okay, you've just brought up some new things for me, because the lady that was accompanying the person that they were trying to capture maybe wasn't an experiencer, because they were able to dive on her.
Yes. So my take on it was that the main character was an experiencer, as was the newscaster, the weather lady. I think
Yep.
they were. I mean, those were obviously both experiencers, but the girlfriend of the main character was not, and that's why they were able to quote unquote dive on her, but not him or the other lady. So, but I mean that opens up a whole new conversation there. But I thought that was great.
That whole bilocation thing that was being achieved with that device is in spiritual, religious discussions too. And Whitley Strieber has talked about that more than once, about the bilocation. I remember he's mentioned that he's been able to do it, maybe inadvertently, and there was another person he knew who could do it at will. So we've got these abilities, Mike. That's what I feel disclosure is. We have abilities, and that's why I said to you, Jesus was telling us that too. You can do this, you can do that, if you have faith.
Exactly. Absolutely. Um, yeah, it was just really. I just want to harp on that a little bit more because I already know that there's a lot of sort of action, if you will, behind the scenes or percolating up with experiencers and people coming forward and telling their stuff, and they're very brave to do it. And I think that after this, it's gonna, not to say it's gonna be easier to do, but I think more people are going to be inspired, as it were, to do. And I'm kind of curious to see overall if more reports are going to come through now as this movie makes its way out around the world and such. Are people going to make more reports about stuff potentially that happened a long time ago or even currently? It'll be interesting to see.
I think I hear what you're saying here too. Like with the word experiencer now in the vernacular, people can associate themselves and come forward as experiencers. Now,
Hmm.
we've both been in this paradigm a long time, and there are a lot of people that come through with some very, very wild stories. I won't go into it. I know it's sort of thing you're talking about. Extrapolation, I would say. People getting attention for these stories. And it's hard to sift through the ones that are true and false. And there are, okay, here this comes into the movie too. Sometimes the experiencers see things that aren't actually real, projections or their overlay.
Mm.
Now, the newscaster actually deliberately creates experiences for some of the people that intercept her based on what she can sense or know about those people. So I didn't think that was negative actually, because they were trying to capture her. She was using that as a technique to elude them. That's a whole extra layer of this discussion too, Mike.
Indeed. So the theory behind that is the and we're just gonna, for the sake of the conversation, the aliens, the ETs, whatever you want to call them, they're able to project into your mind because they speak telepathically. That's pretty much how all the communication is, and they can sort of show you whatever they want you to see. Now that's one of the things I liked too, and I'm even getting chills thinking about it. When they were in the house looking out the window with all of those deer looking in the window at them, I was just like, whoa. Because I'm pretty confident that's one of the screen memory things that happen a lot, where people will see owls or deer or various animals. They also depicted like a fox and a cardinal. That kind of thing happens a lot, and I'm glad that that it was put forward in this movie to call attention to it. I don't know why. I don't know how did we go down that rabbit hole,
It's all,
Stuart? What
it's
did
all
you
right.
say that led me
Well,
there?
and I want to make another comment on that. So, what these beings are doing is drawing from our own experiences and our own memories. Now, this leads into something which might be a little scary, but let's go there. This motif about the devil taking your soul, I think is related to these grey beings or beings harvesting our memories, harvesting our experiences. And I think that came up subtly in the movie where I think one of the characters said, "These are my memories. This is my life, not yours." There was a phrase a bit like that, and I knew what that was referring to at the time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I've only seen it once, but yeah, that was the sort of like the I don't the co-lead, I guess, whatever you. I'm not a movie reviewer. I don't know the technical term for, but the weather lady. She was basically like saying, I'm gonna live my life. I'm not gonna live to be the person you want me to be. I'm gonna be the person who I am, and that, yeah.
Well,
Um,
see, there's even that layer where they take her to a replica of her own house, which would be very strange, wouldn't it? Like, that's another layer of these are my memories. Why are you here? Why are you trying to recreate this? Now, she didn't verbalize these phrases I'm saying now, but that's something I picked
Well,
up for myself.
I think she actually may have.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because I think she said something to the effect of, this is my parents' house. What the
That's
heck
right.
is it doing here? And yeah, that would be very weird, I think, for anybody to go into a big old warehouse and then have that recreation there. I'm not sure I understand that symbology yet, but it was there. It happened.
Well, see,
But
Mike, that felt like a regression, a way of representing a regression to me.
Okay, yeah, I suppose. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right on that. Um, I'm taken back by the physical structure recreation that wasn't really necessary for the regression to happen, but I guess you're probably right. That's probably what that was.
It's difficult to portray these things in movies, Mike. So I was thinking about this too. How on earth are you going to portray telepathy in a movie?
Yeah, okay. They did a good job of it.
Okay, here's another biblical thing then I'll touch on. I think, personally, I try and add when I think it's personal, at occurrences like Pentecost, people were experiencing telepathy. So the apostles were speaking and everybody was hearing the words in their own language. The most likely thing in my mind that was occurring then is telepathic communication. That was a layer that came up during this movie too, where people, that anchor lady was speaking, thought she was speaking English, but the recipients were hearing the discussion in their own language.
Is that what that was? Because I was a little confused about that. The actress was brilliant. I don't think I'd ever be able to do that, speak multiple languages fluently like she did. But
Yeah.
That was like her boyfriend. They were at the table. She started speaking Russian, but I didn't get the sense that he was Russian or that he even knew what the heck she was saying. And I don't think she even realized that she was speaking Russian. That was a little confusing for me.
Well, that's the dilemma and the point I'm making. Like, how do you represent telepathy? Now the actress is going to say something and everyone around the world's going to hear it in their own language. You can't do that in a movie. So I thought that's what that was trying to portray.
Okay. It'd be really interesting to figure out or find out what she did say. Like, can someone translate that? I'm sure somebody will, right? But like, what were those words that were spoken in Russian? And then what were those words that were, I don't know if it was French. There was a couple different languages that came out here and there. And I was just like, damn, this,
Well, I got another one. I'm glad you led me here because something I wanted to ask you about. That clicking sound that she makes, one of the first utterances.
Yeah.
Now, you know what I remembered? I think from childhood, I remember there was maybe an African tribe that speak that way with the clicking sounds. And I wondered, that led my mind to, have they had interactions with the mantids? I'm really going off the deep end into the weeds now, aren't I?
Oh, yeah, you are. You said the mantis. Okay. I'm not familiar with the African tribe that spoke like that, but
It may not be exactly like that, but there's an aspect of their communication involves clicking.
okay. It was that was pretty interesting. Many episodes ago at this point, it seems like many episodes, we spoke with somebody who we were talking specifically about this, and it sounded like there was some guy on the internet who did a reasonably good. This is when the trailer was out and the movie wasn't, still way in the future. And he traced it back to like the Bashar noise with his teeth.
I didn't hear that.
No,
one.
that's not an alien code that I just put out there. Don't worry. But I don't know. Do you remember that conversation we had?
Not really. Chattering teeth communication. That's a new one.
Well, okay, maybe I didn't present it correctly. Anyway, it was pretty interesting that because there are a good number of reports that come through as well from time to time or whatever. People hear clicking sounds like that, and it's probably unsettling if you have ever heard something like that, especially in a situation where you're seeing stuff that doesn't make sense either.
Oh, Mike, and you're really getting me inspired now. Okay, now I want to, and I'm being 100% serious now. I want to hear what sound these mantis make. I mean, the creatures, not the alien versions. I'm talking about the ones on Earth here. Do they make sounds? Do they make clicking sounds? I want to follow this thread now.
Well, let's see. Stuart, let's pull a pause button and let's find out. Hold on, we'll be right back.
I'm raising pet praying mantises, and one of the most amazing things I've learned is the sounds they make. Listen to this.
Okay, so yeah, actually, you're right. What I'll do, hopefully, put that up in post. There's some pretty damn interesting sounds that a praying mantis makes. So, wow.
I've never thought to check that. See, this movie is already inspiring me, and this discussion is inspiring me to check out things that I'd never thought to explore before. This is good.
Yeah. Who would ever think to look up what does a mantis sound like? Oh my God. So one of the other things here is that I think, especially at the end, and I thought about this quite a bit. I mean, how much could I have possibly thought about it? It's been 24 hours, right? Or less than 24 hours, but still, I thought about it a lot. It demonstrates sort of, I guess you would say, the ontological shock factor of having an experience at the very end when everyone is just like completely taken back and speechless, like stunned into silence, to use Reverend David Perry's phrase that he likes to use with us a lot. When an individual has something like that happen, that's basically kind of how it is, right? I mean, it could be even more traumatic than that. But the point is, like, you freeze and you're just like, WTF, like, and you're just frozen. So the idea that the whole world was experiencing it at the same time. At first, I thought, that's just not how it would go. And then I was like, wait a minute, that probably is how it would go.
You want to know the interesting layer too that I noticed at the start of the movie? I think we're on the brink of nuclear war, and by the end of the movie, we're not.
Okay, so interesting too. Yeah, I picked up on that as well. On one hand, I was like, wow, this is so timed perfectly well, because we are, again, literally, in reality, on the brink of nuclear war. But then on the other hand, ever since we invented the nuclear bomb, we have been on the brink of nuclear war. So it's nothing really new in a way. It's not like the movie is timed to what's happening today, even though it is. It's because humanity hasn't changed one. I want to say some words that I'm not going to say because I don't want to bleep myself out, but humanity has not changed one iota in the many decades since we built the bomb.
Oh, wow. That's a good observation. That's a little depressing. Leave me out of this, Mike.
Okay, so I shouldn't say it that way. I shouldn't paint this broad brush of humanity, because I do think by and large humanity is good, loving people, but the political leaders who don't have term limits are the ones who are sort of keeping us in this silly state of fear all the time, as is the intelligence community itself, with all of their own lies to their own people and their surveillance and their control of everything and everyone. But that's really the enemy of the people, is the intelligence community.
Oh, wow. Well, another big one. Another dig at the intelligence community. That's all right. No,
hey.
It
I'm
is
already
okay.
on lists, I'm sure. What the hell? Who cares?
I'm not part of the intelligence community. Let me say right now, here and now. So, but it's a tricky one.
Stuart, I don't know. You do frequently say that. So why are you always so defensive about the being identified?
No, it is the problem. But what I'm going to shift the blame right now, which the movie sort of did as well. So as I mentioned before, the people from the military-industrial complex turn up claiming to be FBI. And I know FBI isn't exactly intelligence agency, but it's the corporations. So they seem to feel like they've been given this proprietary information, so we better protect it. This is ours. And then when you view it through that lens, it starts to make sense. They're viewing it as theft from their intellectual property theft, so they want to defend it.
I guess a little bit yes for me and a little bit no for me on that one. Because at one point, it was almost as if, the evil guy, right, as we'll call him, felt it was his duty to protect planet Earth.
Yeah.
But that's where he was wrong. It never was his place to withhold that information. So that's the other thing is, it acknowledges that there's no one person or group to the idea that anyone out there thinks that they should hold something back for anyone's good, like that's not your place to say. And they brought up that argument like right at the beginning almost, and I was like, whoa, damn, we're getting into the thick of it.
Good stuff. Now, there have been some very famous whistleblowers, as you know, Snowden. Who else have we got? What's the other one? I can't come to mind now. Julian Assange, that's another one. So there has been that sort of thrust in the past. I'm not going to make any judgment on whether that's right or wrong, but there have been people that have wanted to bring information to the fore. And there are arguments that that's a controlled release, maybe, by one or two of those individuals. It was on purpose, either from them or whoever was supplying them with the information. But the point I'm trying to make is there has been a thrust to reveal information to us. And I do respect that. And I can understand the fear about releasing it because, well, you saw at the end of the movie, everyone was stunned into silence. But that wasn't necessarily a negative place, was it, Mike? I didn't feel like the movie left us in an, oh no, catastrophic disclosure. That's a different type of world ending. It didn't feel like that in the movie, did it?
Correct. I would agree with that 100%. It did not feel like that. And I thought it was pretty interesting. Like, I don't know what I was expecting originally, but that was not it. But it was, I think the more I think about it and ponder about it, the more and more I like it, honestly. But yeah, I mean, with that involved, I wrote down a note here, something about what, it applies further pressure to Washington, and in a way it does encourage catastrophic disclosure because I think what we saw in Steven Spielberg's movie Disclosure Day was catastrophic disclosure, and what we saw was it wasn't catastrophic. The catastrophic part of catastrophic disclosure is the few people who have the power, who don't want to release the power. They will hold on to the power until their dying day. It's catastrophic to those few people only, not the rest of the world. So I fully support catastrophic disclosure if that's how it's going to go, and I think it would. It's just like, this is what it is. Like, deal with it. I think I said exactly that a long time ago.
Okay, thanks for leading us here too, Mike. So here's another question, which I actually need your help to answer. The Colin Firth character, I thought he was excellent, by the way. I really liked his acting.
He played a very good villain.
He did. It had some complexity about it, and this is one of the layers I wanted to discuss. There's a point in the near the end where one of his henchmen says, "Aren't you going to stop her?" And I don't know if he answers no, but he just sits down and starts watching Disclosure unfold. So why does he relent at that time? What's happening there?
I think it's open to interpretation and probably supposed to be, but I mean, you could say he was just like, he pulled out all of the stops, and she just like kept going and made him fail every step of the way, and then he's just like, screw it, go for it. Or maybe she was controlling him with the telepathy. Or a combination of both. Like, I don't know, but I thought it was, I think I even giggled to myself when that happened. Yeah, I was like, wow, yeah, good. Just take a seat, man. You know?
Now, Reverend David made a point in a recent interview, basically, I'm paraphrasing, about how the negative dark side act as a catalyst to help us, force us to evolve, to force us to make decisions. So I wonder if he sort of felt, well, my job's done now. Here we are at Disclosure. I was supposed to create resistance, and now we've got Disclosure. So I wondered if Spielberg was trying to represent something along those lines.
That's very deep, Stuart. I wasn't expecting.
That's why I wanted to make sure we spoke about this aspect of the movie. Because otherwise, it makes little sense, does it?
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, not everything has to make sense, right? And then when you're talking about a movie, you know, you got to have some freedoms in there. Like my gripe, I mean, my legs did tense up during that moment of that scene that I didn't particularly like, but it did, you know, have an emotional response, and that's what its job is supposed to do, right? So anyway, I'm not immune to Hollywood's magic, as it were.
Yeah, see, it was good then, wasn't it? Like I came away, I still feel like I enjoyed the film. And one of the things I mentioned at the start of this discussion was Spielberg is very informed about this whole paradigm. Now, I thought about this too. He's either informed from official sources or he understands the paradigm and is kind of aware of what we speak about. I don't mean on our show. I mean in the whole disclosure movement, the currents. And speaking of that, I'll tell you something I've noticed since watching the movie on social media. Some people in this paradigm of disclosure are quite upset. Have you heard this one where they're saying Spielberg's pro-grey alien? We can't allow this to happen. Yes, they're too sympathetic to the grey aliens because in the movie he talks about, well, they talk about empathy being the most powerful or one of the most important properties in the universe. He betrays that. A couple of the characters talk about how they're upset about watching the grey interrogation and maybe even torture. So there's that layer about sort of a sympathy there. Have you seen this? You will probably soon if you haven't already.
I mean, I do my best to not. I mean, I'm really not really on social media at all anyway, so it's pretty easy for me to be blissfully unaware of what happens on social media. But it doesn't surprise me, I guess, that people would be like. One of the thoughts I had when I was pulling out of the parking lot is some people are going to like this and some people aren't. You know.
I also wondered about people that know nothing about this entire topic. How would they experience it as a movie? Just an interesting sci-fi movie, I suppose.
You know, I mean, interesting that you say that because I don't go to the movies very often at all. And to tell you how long it's been since I've been to a movie, this is the first time I've ever been in a fully reclining seat in a movie theater. My feet were literally, it was like I was in my living room on like an easy chair or something. And I was like, wow, this is pretty damn cool. Then there was a lady in front of me who also, I don't think ever experienced that because she turns around and she's like, how do you make the seat go back? And I'm thinking like, I'm trying to push it back. And then I feel there's a button on the side and I just hit it. And I was like, oh yeah, there's a button on the side. Like I'm a pro, right?
Right.
And then she's oh, thank you so much.
Wow.
She actually called somebody on the phone right then and there. It was like, oh my God, I'm lying backwards and this screen is huge. And I was just like, oh my God, you better not talk to the movie lady. But then afterwards, she turned around and asked me, like, have I ever seen any movies about aliens? And then I paused and I'm thinking like, oh boy, do I really want to start a conversation here? And I was like, yeah, I've seen a few. And I left it at that. But
that's amazing.
She's probably the exact person you're just talking about, though. That's why I went on that little sidebar.
That's very good. So you had your own disclosure moment at Disclosure Day where you're disclosing the way the seats operate, the alien craft.
It was full disclosure, Stuart. Full disclosure
fell right into
how the
it.
seat operates.
Wow. You got ancient tech knowledge, Mike, yourself, knowing how the craft operates.
Oh, man. But okay, so that was interesting, too. Let's talk about that. They had 3 of them. Whatever these things were, I don't know. They looked as though they were probably metallic of some kind. And they were oblong, rectangular diamonds things, interesting. And then if you touched it with your skin, stuff happened. So you had to have a glove to be neutral. Like, that was pretty. What do you think about that? I don't know what to make of that specifically.
I thought they may have been made of some sort of stone or precious gem. I also noticed there were interesting, unusual symbols on them. These symbol depictions come up in experiencer accounts, I believe, where they see unusual symbols that they can't place. So I wondered whether that implement, that artifact, was supposed to represent alien technology or technology from a previous civilization. And I mean a human civilization. That's another interesting topic. So the Colin Firth character was using it to bilocate. The interesting thing for me was he didn't know where he was bilocating to. He only knew to whom he was bilocating to, which I found very interesting. So that's pretty much remote viewing we're seeing on the Disclosure Day show there.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I thought about that, and I was just like, you weren't supposed to be the one to say it, but I was just like, someone's going to compare that to remote viewing. I don't know that would be accurate though, because what they're depicting was more about like, almost. I mean, it was a pure violation, first of all, of going into someone's personal space, and then seeing through their eyes. And that's not how I know remote viewing to be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Now, there's apparently sort of what might be termed as black magicians who can do that kind of thing. So I've heard about that before too, integrating into people's physical bodies. And also, that's a motif of demonology, taking over people's faculties. Well, here's an interesting thing: like the bad guy's basically doing the demonic things and not the ET, I suppose, arguably.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna let that one go. Because that particular subset of the conversation is, I think, really heating up, and I don't want to go there.
Wow, interesting, Mike.
I just don't believe it, and I personally want to give it really any airtime more than we already have, just because.
Okay, interesting. That's really interesting. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't know if I'm correct, but I don't believe in looking. I mean, I'm open to the other guy's point of view to an extent, but I'm not going to spend too much time on something that I disagree with or have not found evidence to support.
Yeah, entirely reasonable.
Yeah. So I mean, to kind of wrap it up here, because we definitely don't want to talk as long as the movie about the movie, but
yes, it was long. Mike, I'm sorry to say I missed a small section when I had to go to the toilet because the movie's so long. Did you miss any parts of the movie, or were you there for the whole thing?
Interestingly that you said that, I did have to go really quickly at one point, and I'm trying to remember what point it was, because I was doing TMI, right? But I was doing that thing where, like, can I make it? How much, like, trying to gauge how much more is left in the movie. And then I was like, you know what? I better just go right now before it gets really good. So I like sort of ran out and ran back in. That was right around the time that she was in the hospital, and they were, the people were there, saying they were the quote-unquote FBI agents. Interestingly, at one point I saw what I thought was another trailer for this movie online, and it was like a full-on sequence of a scene that was never at all in the movie. So I'm wondering if that was a pulled scene or what, and maybe that's why they put it out the way they did. Wow. Where it was like air traffic control was saying, they were basically, long story short, they're like, do you want to report a UFO? And the pilot's like, negative. I'm pretty damn confident that was displayed as a Disclosure Day trailer, and that scene was nowhere in the movie. So my thought was like, is it possible that I went to pee right at that moment? It was like, no. It was like I wasn't gone that long, really, because thankfully the bathroom was right there. TMI.
Well, there's one part that you might have missed at that section where she was the anchor lady was being interviewed by either a nurse or a doctor, and the boyfriend jumps in and says, you talk in your sleep and you have this recurrent dream where you're going to the Hansel and Gretel house. Did you hear that part? And that comes up later in the movie. Yeah,
that was right around the time that I got back.
Right, I see.
So what you saw it before me by like a day, and you said one thing to me after you saw it, and of course I didn't really know what it meant. And then after I saw it, I repeated that one thing back to you, just so you knew that I knew. What was that one thing, Stuart?
I simply sent you the word listen with a pair of headphones after it.
Yeah. And when I saw that originally, I was just like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me, but I don't care, because I was doing my best to not hear anything at all. I wanted to go into it fresh. And then that was the last word. And then we saw the black screen and Steven Spielberg's name, and I was just like, that's what Stuart meant. Okay.
I was trying to show you that I actually had seen the movie. Not that I would lie to you, but it was it was a bit of a code, but it also was a prompt because I wanted to ask you what. It's very deep. It's one single word, Mike. Listen. Does it mean meditate? Does it mean have an open mind? It probably means all these things.
I don't know. That was a little bit weird to me, because it's like, what does it mean? And I kind of felt as if the big, tall, gray alien that came out at the end and said all that they said was a heck of a lot more than listen.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't speak that language, but it seemed like they had a whole sentence or two to say, and then she just comes up and says, listen. So I don't know what to make about that. I don't know what to make about that.
It's kind of Zen, isn't it? Just the one single word at the end. It's good. It's left us something to ponder and think about. There's now I'll probably have some more thoughts on this in a couple of weeks, and it's not like I'm pondering it non-stop, but I just sort of have revelations, realizations about what I saw and interpretation. And here's the thing, Mike, I wanted to say too. It's an artistic rendering. Like I was talking about telepathy, you know, there would have been situations where perhaps Spielberg thought, how do I represent telepathy on a film? You know, and it's a strange topic, full stop, and then you're trying to represent it in a movie in a fictitious way. I hope no one's disappointed that they didn't get disclosure footage and, you know, real disclosure, because that's not what it was. It was a movie just to bring up and forward move the conversation forward on this topic.
Yeah, I mean, I give Steven Spielberg all the credit for the entire movie, of course, but when the gray alien came out at the end, Stuart, I thought to myself, oh no, you're not going, no. And I think he did a pretty decent to good job of, like, that's not easy to pull off. A realistic looking thing that you can't really prove because nobody has a real picture of one, you know what I mean? And to make it look lifelike and everything. And there was a little kid behind me and said, "It's E.T."
Wow.
But yeah, so I give him all the props for, like, that. It was not easy to pull off. So you did it. So congratulations on that one. I don't know. I think that's about all I got to say. Any final thoughts on your side?
Well, I think we covered most things, but my closing thought, and I've already mentioned it, is disclosure has actually already happened. I do agree with you on that, Mike. It's just more about us understanding and reintegrating what that means.
Okay, yeah. So this is what I wanted to say. I after the movie last night, I was thinking about this, and this is the sentence that I wanted to say. I think that what we saw at the very end of Disclosure Day is the overall depiction of the collective unconsciousness of what a majority of people on Earth are expecting to actually happen for real. But it didn't. But now it just did. Because it was done on the silver screen. So now you don't have to have it happen for real, because it sort of did. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But there you go.
Oh, I get it. You know, it sort of plants seeds in our collective unconscious, doesn't it? Like, you know, yeah, I've seen that. I've experienced that. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. That's very interesting. That's a good takeaway for me. I'm going to ponder that one.
Yeah, because, like, the other thing about it was this was not political at all. It wasn't any nation state's leader coming out. It was some dude who broke into the news feed, and all their newscasters were like, "Oh yeah, put this out," you know. And just to go back to what you were saying, we started at World War III, and then we ended with, you know, global disclosure all at once on the same day. It's unclear to me, though, if, I mean, that's probably the worst way to end it, but did it really stop World War III?
At least for that moment, it seemed to. Because
for that moment, it did, yeah. But I don't know. Like, part of me thinks that moment is only going to be a couple minutes for most people, and then they're just going to go back to their lives and such.
Very interesting.
I don't know. Maybe we should edit that one out and redo something so it's a little bit more upbeat on the end. I don't know. I feel...
No, it's okay, because, see, that's a layer of the movie and what we experienced too. So we came out of the movie, as I'm doing right now, still trying to understand and integrate the information. And, you know, we've been following this topic for a long time, and even you and I are doing that. So that's like a a little version of what would happen globally. So even you and I, when disclosure happens, if it happens, we'll be like, wow, Mike, like, what does it mean? We'll still be asking the questions, still having the discussions.
Perhaps. I don't think it's ever going to happen the way that it happened in the movie. And I think that's really what people are wanting. And I think that may be why he did it.
Oh, okay. Yes. To sort of grant people that experience. I understand.
It sounds so weird to say, but I that's what I believe.
It's nice. It's kind of a gift then.
Yeah. Well, there's a great place to end it, Stuart.
Beautiful.
So this was our special edition. We've got a couple more conversations already there. Not already there. Going to come out soon. There's a couple people who are reaching out to us, Stuart, too. I got to talk to you about that and see how that might go. And that's all I got. Take us out. Take it away.
All right. Well, thank you, as usual, for being on this journey with us. Now, we want to hear your thoughts and comments on what we discussed, the movie itself. Look, please call us out on things. If you think something I brought up is nonsense, just put in the comment that it is, or if you got some information that's... Because we've got open ears here too, Mike, so we want to learn and expand our understanding. So we encourage you to join the conversation. Also, I want to send my love and blessings to all our viewers. Please take care out there and join us for the ride. Much love.